Welcome, everyone, to episode 49 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, do we want to go on a love story?
Does one go on a love story? I think you just kind of participate in it.
I guess that's a fair point. Well, this episode, we're going to be talking about Haven by the Game Bakers.
I don't believe that that's actually their name.
I saw the name on both Xbox and other sources, and it said the Game Bakers.
Okay.
So if you guys from the dev team at the Game Bakers want to refute that, by all means, do your thing. But this game came out back in December of 2020. I played this on the PC, and this was 4.45 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, how about you?
Well, I've got good news. On the Xbox One, 4.1 gigabytes.
Wow, well done. Well done, Game Bakers. They know how to bake their games into the Xbox, don't they?
Yeah, apparently. They have the time and the temperature settings correct.
Yes, they did. So, what's the game loop?
Well, usually I think we start with saying what kind of game it is.
Right. I don't know why I have this flipped over. Oh, I'm looking at my notes wrong. So let's flip that up. What kind of game is this, Tom?
It is a story-focused exploration adventure game.
That's about what I said. Third-person adventure game. I kept it pretty...
I try to be a little bit more specific with mine, as you may have noticed over our 48, now 49 episodes.
49 episodes, yeah. That's true. I mean, you know, this show ebbs and flows with its style of content. As you can see, I said the game loop instead of what kind of game is it first. So, but now let's loop back around to the game loop. How about that?
That's a good segue there, Chris. Well, I have that you explore the environment, collecting items to feed your characters and fix your ship.
I guess that's true. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot about that part. But I wrote, progress through the story of you and Kay exploring this new world with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's kind of I totally forgot about the food mechanic.
Yeah. I mean, they are all part of the Game Bakers. So, you know, maybe food
yeah,
is...
I guess they had to have some sort of food in it. You're right. You're right.
Though I would argue that you're cooking more than you are baking in this game, but, you know,
fair.
That's splitting hairs.
Yeah. But, you know, let's get into it. What do we like about this game?
Well, Chris, I'll give one little taste and then I'm going to bounce it back to you. I thought that really cool watercolor intro cinematic.
Yes, that was really cool.
It was a delight.
Yeah. Well done to the team that worked on that.
I was like, what is going on here? I love this.
It was like a music video.
Yeah.
Like one of those like 90s. Like I even thought like it kind of took me a little bit to even like that Aha Take On Me song.
Yeah.
In a way. So that was really cool.
Give us some of yours, Chris.
I mean, you stole my first one, but I said the art style was very good. For the most part, it was very good. You know, we've talked about this before on the show, where this is the kind of game I feel like that can last or not, that can age gracefully because of the style that they chose for the game.
Ditto 100% right there. I agree with you 100%.
So, yeah, I mean, I really appreciated that. I loved the dialogue, the banter, the dialogue. Like you really could like get a sense that there is a relationship between these two characters, you and Kay. You is the female, I believe. Kay is the male in this, I believe. Anyway,
I believe you're correct.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's something. What about you, Tom? What did you like about this?
So I thought it was interesting that from the beginning, the game is like, hey, this is a pretty easy game. Like, this game is not going to be hard. But if for some reason you think it's too hard, you can play it even easier.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting that, usually games go like, they default to a normal and they give you an option. Like, if you don't want to be challenged, you can play it on easy. But if you do want to be challenged, here are 3 other difficulties that are harder than this.
Right.
But this game was just like, no, it's set on the hardest it's going to be, and that's not very hard at all. And if you want to make it even easier, that's an option for you too.
Right.
And
because a lot of games, I feel like they make fun of you. They berate you with like going to an easy level, and this is like, hey, we're okay with you going down an easier level, but just so you know, this game's pretty easy. So I give them that. That's true.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like,
yeah, for sure. But I also thought, I don't know if you noticed this, like in the weight animations, like the characters again just established that these two are like very much in love. They like hug each other. Sometimes they'll kiss and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cute that they threw that in there.
Oh, you mean like if you just like leave the characters idling?
Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I noticed them holding hands, and I thought that was pretty sweet.
Oh, yes, they do that too. You're right. So,
and to kind of piggybacking on that, this game is different than most games that I've ever played.
Yeah.
It's the focus on this idea of having this love story, and it's just like ever present throughout the whole game. Yeah. It's in the like loading screen images. It's like everywhere that this game could be like, hey, this is a couple and they love each other and they have, they're going to have their little tiffs and little fights and things. It's just such a kind of, I guess, a breath of fresh air. Like, it's very different from even most action exploration games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I at least in my time playing, I didn't see or I didn't fight anyone.
Yeah, me neither.
It was just like you said, doing a lot of exploration, but I felt like in the screenshots it showed that there were battles, and like as you progress in the story, I think like the second or third day, they ask you like, do you want to take like health like items with you?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so my assumption is you can get damaged in this game, like you can get hurt.
Yeah.
And like even when you're in the ship or the nest, like if you go to the bathroom, you can see both of their like life bars in there and stuff like that. So yeah, it was I did appreciate the fact that this was not difficult, and there's a co-op mode, although it's couch co-op.
How did you even find that? I thought I did a pretty good, thorough job of looking for the settings.
It was right in the main menu.
Really?
It's like new game options, and then it's like co-op at the bottom.
Huh. I missed it somehow.
Yeah. So, what else? Anything else you wanted to bring up that you liked about this game?
2 little nuggets. One is that I enjoyed interacting with the world, that you can like pet the bugs and scratch the lizards, like just silliness that I appreciate when your game does that. So thank you for that, game makers. Game bakers. I meant it in a more general sense in the makers of the game. But yeah, I mean also the game bakers. And I've got to admit that the pieces of the story that I heard made me interested in learning more. So like they are dealing out like little pieces and little like, so that you have an understanding of how these 2 characters ended up crash landed here. Mm-hmm. And as that starts to get, exposed, I'm like, ooh, okay. I'm digging your world building. I want to know more about these characters and where they came from. So good job.
Good job of just peppering you with that information, almost naturally, I would assume, right? Like these 2 would be talking about this stuff as they are, trying to figure out this world.
Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting thing to think about, right? Is that this is a game about 2 people who know each other very well, and they've crash landed on this place, right? They're not going to talk about a lot about like what happened and why they got there because they know that information.
Yeah.
So there's not really a natural way for them to give that exposition,
Yeah.
because you're learning everything from these characters and the way they're interacting with each other. There's no narrator. There's nobody going like, and then this happened, and then that happened.
Right. The
So
one thing, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, so it makes sense how you get these little pieces of information kind of piecemeal when they just kind of come up naturally in conversation.
I felt like there were a lot of times in the game where I would ask this question and then in my head, and then the characters would ask that same question. I was like, oh, okay. Like there's like a natural flow of information throughout this game. So it was kind of cool. I appreciated that. And then like I like that because a lot of times I felt like I was getting a little confused about where I was going. Like if I went up one of those like not the portals, but the little bridges that connect them. If you went to the one that you went to already, they're like, no, that's not the right way. You should go back this way. Like they like kind of coach you throughout the game. It's like, oh, this game is easy. Like, it was, you know.
It's true.
So,
they did not lie.
No. But now
we got to talk about the things we didn't like, Chris, I think. Yeah. Do you want to take point on this?
Well, first off, I wasn't a fan of the glide controls.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
I thought I thought they were. It was like you were like driving a truck.
Yeah.
It wouldn't like your characters just won't turn. Oh, the one thing we should point out is you can switch between both the characters.
Yeah.
Like you play both of them, but like you pick one as a primary character and you continue that. But yeah, my goodness, like because the glide is like the most important mechanic because if you start walking, the girl starts complaining. She's like, "Oh, why are you walking? This is taking forever." So you have to glide. And another mechanic is that you have to follow these lines of
the flow.
The flow, yes, you have to follow the flow lines, and if you don't follow that turn like properly, you just beeline it to the wrong direction, and it's just terrible. I tried to go into the settings and to see if there's a way you can adjust the camera or like your controls. There was none, except there was one like checkbox that you could use to allow you to control the camera while you're gliding. And that made me like immediately sick. And I turned that off.
Made it worse, not better.
I was like, no, thanks. We're not doing this. What about you, Tom? What did you not like about this game?
I ran into the problem of too many loading screens, which frustrates me. The game's not even that big. I don't understand why every 5 minutes I was in a loading screen. Now, admittedly, they didn't last too long, and they did have these cute little images, this hand-drawn art, and there was enough of it that it was mostly different. But I was like, it just irritates me. It irritates me to not go smooth transition to smooth. Like, this is like, no more loading screens. This isn't PlayStation 1 era. Like, we don't need loading screens anymore.
I agree, but maybe it's time for an upgrade on your end, Tom.
No, it's not. I mean, yeah, it could be. But what I'm trying to say is, like, when you make your games, like, do a good job of hiding this stuff. Like, Crysis did a great job of hiding their loading screens.
That's true.
There are games that we've played where the game's loading, but you don't know it is, or maybe you do, but you're like, I'm very conscious, going like, good job, guys. Your load's happening. I'm not noticing it. Like, you've done a very good job. And then you have other games where it's like, please wait. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, why am I? This is boring.
I see you put up there's, and I agree with you. The worlds feel or look very samey, at least from what we've played so far. And I totally am agreement with you on that. I was definitely doing that a lot, like looping around in the same area. I'm like, where am I going? But which is why I also appreciated that they kind of guided you audibly. Like the characters are like, that's the wrong way. You should be going elsewhere.
Yeah. Although they don't give you like waypoints necessarily, but they do kind of go like, if you follow the flow and you listen to the character's dialogue, you'll know if you're in the right place or not.
There was one like land or whatever that was at. I didn't know what my objective was.
Yeah.
Like you had to clean up that rust. I didn't
Mhm.
realize I had to actually go around and make sure everything was cleaned off. And then like I finally just found some more and cleaned it up. I was like, oh yeah, you did it. I was like, cool. All right, that makes sense. Um, the other thing I was wondering, when you're in the nest,
Mhm.
why are you not one of the characters? And you're now become this like out of body experience, like this person or thing that is like where you're selecting to cook or eat or sleep or whatnot. It's like you're pretty much these two characters the rest of the way of the game,
Mhm.
but just in the nest, you're like walking around as some other creepy person that's just there watching them. So that's what I was kind of confused with that direction or why they did that. I don't know if you
Yeah,
know.
I understand what you're saying, but I think the whole game is more or less you bearing witness to these two people and their relationship. So it like it almost has to be that way
Mm.
because you are controlling both of them. So it's like
Yeah, okay.
I see the binary switch as both of them or none of them,
Right.
as opposed to one or the other. Like there's tons of examples where like one character's like, well, I got to go get food. And the other character's like, no, don't leave me inside here. Like, we got to go together. And it's like, do we really? Like, but no, I mean, the mechanics of the game is that the two of them are always together. So,
Right. Yeah. Um I also thought like sometimes with the dialogue, I mean, maybe it gets unfolded later on in the game, but the dialogue choices, I felt like what was the point of a lot of them? Because sometimes it's like, oh, you feels confident or Kay feels confident. It's like, okay, cool. They feel confident. What does that accomplish for me later on?
yeah, like, what is that building towards? I
Right.
did see in like the options and settings menus, like lots of things that look like you unlock,
Okay.
whether they be skill trees or items.
Oh, skill trees. Okay.
Um, and like, as you like interact with the characters, it has that, I don't know, it's like that overlapping like lines,
Yeah.
and like you get more of that if you succeed in cooking things correctly and doing the right interactions. I didn't get enough of that to like level up or whatever, but
Yeah.
I imagine that if you do, that's where it brings you probably to the where
I don't know.
upgrade your character.
I guess my mind went that way, but it looked like two people, you know, doing the deed.
I didn't see that at all. I just
Well,
thought it looked like two different kinds of lines.
well, I'm just saying. If you look at it again, you probably see it. I'm just saying.
Okay, maybe.
Um,
You
what
got
else
it.
did you? Is there anything else you wanted to bring up here?
I just only that I didn't feel like there was a lot of game here. Like,
Mm.
to me, it just felt like mechanically, that's like you drive around your truck characters and collect stuff, so you can go back to the thing, so you can have more conversations, so you can drive around your
Yeah.
characters to collect stuff. I don't think that that's necessarily a problem, but it didn't seem like there were a whole lot of mechanics. Now, it could be that we didn't unlock a lot of things, and maybe there's stuff later on.
True.
I don't know. But it definitely feels like you're mostly playing this for the story.
Hmm. Yeah. Cool. The other thing, I mean, not a
Yeah, no,
negative, but this thing to bring up though.
sure.
Um, this game does support Xbox Cloud saves and Play Anywhere, so that is,
That's
you're able to play it anywhere. Hence, Xbox Play Anywhere. And the time to beat, based on howlongtobeat.com, is about 10 hours. So
okay.
it's a fairly short game. Fairly short game. So, any other things you want to bring up, Tom, before we make our
Um,
transition?
yeah, I think generally, this is the
Yeah.
broad strokes here. If presented with the option of playing a harder game with more responsive controls, or
Mhm.
or a game like this, I would lean towards a harder game with more responsive controls. Like,
That's fair.
having the kind of floatiness of it is pretty distracting at
Hmm.
a fundamental level. And so I'd tighter controls in a game that like maybe beats you up a little bit more, I think is generally my wheelhouse. But I did appreciate that this was very different. So
yeah,
something
absolutely.
to note.
All right. So, I mean, we might as well continue with your final thoughts then, Tom.
Okay.
Are you keeping this?
Yeah, I think I am going to keep playing this game. And the reason being is that I really want to see where this story goes. So I think the only thing that was going to hold me up there was whether or not it was going to be super long. You telling me that it's only 10 hours or so to beat, that's what I need to hear. Like, that I would spend that time watching a Netflix series or something. Like 10 hours is very manageable, especially over a few days. Like, it's like watching a couple of movies.
Yeah, this is definitely a very like less strenuous experience. Like, I feel like you can just kind of cruise through it because you're literally not. It doesn't seem like you're fighting much at all. So you can kind of cruise through those 10 hours pretty quickly. And I'm with you. I think I will keep this game. It's a short enough game, and the story and art was intriguing enough for me to keep it on my hard drive. So,
woo! It's only 4 gigs.
It's only 4 gigs. Pretty small. So, yeah, that's our thoughts for this game. So let us know what you think. Of course, you can hit us up on Twitter at TC1H1D, or watch us on YouTube, as you might be doing right now. Like, subscribe, comment down below. And hey, we, as always, 1H1D is part of the QTB network. So if you like gaming podcasts, be sure to check out Quit the Build, a weekly gaming news podcast. Or to see the whole lineup, check out quitthebuild.com/network. We're on that site, people. So, you can find out more info about us too.
Yeah, we have little blurbs about ourselves that you can read.
We got blurbs. We got other peeps on there and all that good stuff. So,
sweet pics.
I mean, there's 2 pictures of us, Tom. Relax. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah.
I'm trying to entice them, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I know, and as always, you can listen to us on any podcasting platform that you guys are, happen to use. So, Tom, we got to find out what we're playing next.
Yes, that is for game number 50. That's a big deal.
Game number 50. So, surprise me button. What do you have in store for us today?
Surprise me button.
Oh,
what say you?
Yakuza Kiwami 2.
I have never played any of the Yakuza games, so I can safely say I have not played this one.
This is going to be interesting because I've heard these games are very long and a lot of cutscenes.
Well, okay. So the deck is stacked. Deck is stacked against this guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is a cult following for this game, so I'm very intrigued to try this out. And
rated M for mature.
Yes, very naughty.
All right,
but we will find out what's the hubbub about Yakuza, or as Tom says, Yakuza. I don't know which way to say it.
I think you're saying it correctly. I'm saying it
my anime
Anglo way.
Yakuza. So,
yeah, that's Yakuza.
So that is it for this episode. As always, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, listening, doing whatever you're doing, being here with us. So we really appreciate it. And we will talk to you on the next one.
Thank you, everybody.